TitleMatchNetwork.com.
You try to go back to Vince.
Yes, after that run in Charlotte is when I told Vince, went up to Vince and give me one more run with the tie-dye stuff after the karate gimmick, came back with a little headband and the stuff, but I by then had had my hips replaced, my hips had widened out, and very clumsy, and so it wasn't a very good run. Worked with Butch Reed, shot the angle with him. We had a pose off when they were out in the desert and all the pose down, and he jumped me in with the guy, the manager here is the manager, Slick, and yeah, but it just wasn't I wasn't the same,
So your body was pretty bad at the time.
Yeah, pretty beaten up.
Did Vince feel kind of betrayed that your body was so broken down and he wasn't getting the full package?
No, not really. Because he knew people come in with injuries.
Right.
It was just time. It was just time caught up with it. But he did the best he could with me.
Right.
Considering I was very immobile and I couldn't, I wasn't looking very good in the ring. He said, "Well, I'm gonna try to do something with you anyway." So he went to be with Morocco, manage Morocco. And that was a lot of fun.
Right.
But
they just showed your match on MSG Classics.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Morocco, yeah. So that was a lot of fun. But I never felt comfortable as a manager.
Were you expecting a big push when he came back, or did you know you weren't never gonna be feuding with Hogan or anything like that?
On my last run?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I knew.
It was gonna be a smaller role.
Yeah. Also because I was coming back as a baby face because I could not take bumps. The heels have to take bumps.
Right.
You got to take a big bump out there where you're a heel. And Vince knew that, and he said, quite frankly, you'll never be a heel again. At this point in your career, you got to go as a baby face, and I couldn't take bumps.
Well, you remember he's doing commentary with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing the commentary with Gorilla on that SummerSlam.
Yeah, the first SummerSlam.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I got a lot of compliments on that. My commentary, however, Vince thought that I just wasn't. Vince didn't have time really to groom me, as a commentator. I felt I had a good show with Gorilla, but he said he counted how many times I said brother. He said you said brother 52 times. Brother. Oh, brother. Yeah. And so that's where Hulk got brother,
He stole from
He got it from me. And where did I get brother? Well, when I was a preacher, when I was 19 years old, down in the South, all the holy rollers and Pentecostals, the guys that played with snakes and all that stuff, they all called each other brother and sisters. See, brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, pastor, the churches, you're in the congregation, brother so-and-so. I just got brother from that period of my life, calling everybody brother.
Everyone says it now. Do you think his gold got stolen from you?
Huh?
Everyone says it now in wrestling. Do you think it stole it from
sure
you?
They did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They got it from me, and I got it from the Holy Roller Pentecostal crazy people down there.
Wow.
Praying for the sick, healing.
That's like part of the lingo now.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
You had surgery after this time. Were you hoping to come back after surgery, or did you know that was going to be it?
The hip replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I was going to make a comeback because we had talked about it. Because my first comeback from my last run, my hip was gone. It was gone, bone on bone, man. I was in so much pain. I went out there in Baltimore, had a match with Bob Bradley, friend of Big John Studd's, a job kid back then, and my hip blew out on me. Said Vince, man, right before that I got shot up in Los Angeles with cortisone, a lot of cortisone, take the pain away, man. The cortisone worn off. Man, the hip's out. I said, Vince, the hip's gone. He said, well, you know what? He says, credit to Vince. He said, I'm not just good. What am I going to turn you out? Just turn you out to pasture? He said, let's get the hip fixed.
He paid for it?
Paid for it. I paid him back.
So the loan?
Oh, yeah. Up front, though, I didn't have insurance. They didn't have insurance, So he paid cash right up front, like $35,000 for this deal, for that hip replacement. And it was actually Hulk's idea to make an angle out of this thing with my hip and then come back and let someone hurt me like Butchery did, and sell the hip and everything, and then show all the footage from the operation, the tarantulas out there in the desert, all that, those real cool promos, on the comeback, and we showed highlights of the surgery. It's a big deal, man. Having shown the doctor cutting me open, and places like Detroit, Chicago, and Los Angeles put a big black spot over the cut because they said it was too graphic. In Detroit,
makes you even look better though with the black graphic.
That's right. Yeah, and so that was a big deal. Maybe make a comeback. See,
looking back at it now, you were the first wrestler maybe doing it like when they took that injury angle and showed like all the footage. Because now you see him doing it now. Triple H, they do Mysterio, Lashley.
That was the first one. That was really documented.
Now they're making like angles. When you went back to WWE, was Vince Jr. more in charge like at the time? Could you see him taking over the family business?
Oh, you mean on my last run? My last run with the tie-dye, the shaved head? Yeah. Oh, yes. By then he had completely, it was his kingdom. It was his deal.
Could you see his vision?
Yes. Oh, I could feel the fire. You could feel the fire in him and the drive and all of that. There was no question. That was unmistakable. As a matter of fact, Pat Patterson told me that, he said, Billy, before we had our falling out, he said, Billy, Vince is driving me crazy. He said, all he wants to do is work. He's a workaholic. He's driving me nuts. And so, well, there you go. That's true today. The guy's a workaholic, And so, he had that drive. Just like Arnold had the drive. I compare those two guys often, Arnold and Vince, with that drive to make it, and he did,
Do you think the business is better with Vince Jr. in charge rather than Vince Sr.?
There's a lot of positive things I like about the business now that I wish I would have had. For instance, pyrotechnics, entrance music, the lighting, the production value of it now. It seems like now it's more of a festival. It's an event. It really is an event, with the music and the lights. It's like, I like that. I mean, I love that part. I wish I would have had entrance music and lights. Man, when I went out there, it was cold turkey. You walked out of a locker room, out in the hall, and down to the ring, and you didn't have music or lights or, the whole deal. So that part of it, that's cool. That is so cool, man. The production value and the extravaganza of the event, it's cool.
A lot of older wrestlers say it's hard to tell a story in today's matches than it was back then, maybe because of all the stuff that's going on. Do you agree with that?
Oh, you mean in a match?
Yeah, because you have all the lights going off. You have so much. It's hard for people to keep their attention in a long match with all the other stuff going on at once.
However, that may be true, but however, when Stone Cold walks out there, you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock gets out there with all that stuff. You pay attention. Ric Flair, you pay attention. Triple H, with all the business going, you pay attention because these guys have charisma. See, and so no matter what's going on, if you got the charisma, it actually helps you.
We mentioned Patterson before. Does anyone else hold anything against you right now?
I don't think so.
Not that you know of.
Not that I know of. Yeah. Especially something like that. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's a real big deal.
How did you and Vince finally come to terms 3 years ago?
I had a liver transplant, and somehow prior to that liver transplant, we had broken the ice, and right before I went in for surgery, Arnold Schwarzenegger called me, Jesse Ventura called me, and Valerie, my wife, had reached out to Vince, and Vince called me, all three of them, right before I went into surgery. And Vince said, well, superstar, this is really the main event coming up. So yeah, it is, transplant, And so I can't pinpoint how I think time, for one thing, really, 15 years.
Time heals all wounds.
Time, man, time. And then somehow we started easing, and then the liver transplant was a big deal, see.
So they can't, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that Bruno and Vince are still in the outs today? Because they don't get along at all.
In a way, no. Because Bruno, you got that Italian, those Italians, man, they're, like Irish, like really, and he's got that deal, man, and Bruno, he just won't, he won't budge. So I'm not surprised, And I did try to encourage Bruno to take a book deal from Vince. Because at one time, Vince was in Pittsburgh, I think about a year ago or something, a year and a half ago or something, Bruno went to Pittsburgh and stuff. And then things fell apart, I guess. And I told Bruno about all the traveling involved in signing book signing. He said, oh my God, he said, I wouldn't do that anyway then because he hates the airport security.
That's why he doesn't do a lot of indie shows.
No. Traveling's too much,
Have you and Hulk Hogan buried the hatchet?
Yes. Yeah, we buried the hatchet at
recently?
WrestleMania in LA 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
How was that meeting?
It was great. It was
Both
awesome.
you guys wanted it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we met right before the Hall of Fame deal. I was talking to his wife, and she said, "Oh, it's so good to see you again, Billy." Because I presented the olive branch, prior to this, to get word of the Hulk. I apologize for my deal, and again, it was just more bitterness, poverty, and drugs influence your thinking. And so we hooked up, gave each other a hug, buried the hatchet, apologized to each other, and now I see the guy, we hug each other. Everything's cool.
That's cool. Do you consider Scott Steiner, Hulk Hogan, and Jesse Ventura flattery or just rip-offs?
Oh, flattery. That's great. What a great legacy to have guys take your gimmick and be impressed. Like, man, this guy, has influence. Oh, it's a great legacy, And I don't see it in Steiner. Everybody says, oh, Steiner.
It's just a facial look.
It's just the gimmick here. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. And, the guy.
Well, he was doing the arm wrestling stuff too for a lot.
Yeah, but so's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. No, it's a compliment. That you could have that kind of influence.
Just backtracking a bit. How important was it for you to get into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah, it was cool. I never had. I was pretty much like Bruno on the subject. I never felt that it was a necessary thing, to really be recognized in a Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I think it's more for the fans.
It's for the fans. Yeah, because this is our work here, buddy. This isn't real. We're just entertainers, and I believe that from day one. We're just pure entertainers, And it was fun though, to be invited. It was a fun deal, but it wasn't a necessary.
Yeah, you'd be happy either way.
Oh, sure.
TitleMatchNetwork.com